So 1,100 men went in the war. 316 men come out. The Sharks took the rest June the 29th, 1945.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of James TV. This is where I, James, talk to you about legends, myths, conspiracy theories, and everything in between. I decided to start this episode with a clip from Jaws, when he talks about the USS Indianapolis to set up the video. We're talking about the USS Indianapolis, which is one of the worst naval losses of life in history and one of the worst shark attacks of all time. If you don't know the story of what happened to this ship, stick around, as it'll blow your mind. So let me first give you some background. She was built in 1931. She started as a flagship for the Navy and did that for 8 years. The battleship Indianapolis sailed the Central Pacific during World War II and played a very prominent role in World War II. She carried President Roosevelt for 3 visits to various places around the world as well. She was a very reliable ship. She was on a top-secret mission. In July 1945, she was sent to deliver the atomic bomb to Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In fact, it was such a top-secret mission, no one knew they were late to arrive back in port in the United States. No distress signal was ever sent, and no one knew they were even missing. It was also the first and last time a nuclear weapon was ever used in war. And what happens to the men that were left stranded in the water is almost like a terrible, bad nightmare. Before we talk more about the USS Indianapolis, I first want to take a look at exactly what they delivered. This is a picture of the atomic bomb when it was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Two bombs were dropped on August 6th and August 9th in 1945. It devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki. As you can see in the picture, it was horrible what happened. There was nothing left. This is an image of someone literally seared into the ground because they were too close to the blast. It's truly very sad and horrific what happened in Japan in August 6th and August 9th. Now that I gave you a little background on exactly what the USS Indianapolis was up to and the devastation of those 2 bombs that they helped deliver, let's talk about what happened to the USS Indianapolis. On the way back from delivering the world's most powerful weapon, the USS Indianapolis was attacked by a Japanese sub. In fact, it was a submarine that was not even supposed to be there. It was lost. And that's when it saw the Indianapolis. And it sent 2 torpedoes right into its hull and sent 1,900 men into the water in 12 minutes. The men left stranded in the ocean were left floating for 4 days. They endured everything from saltwater poisoning, dehydration, and worst of all, shark attacks. And to make matters even worse, they had life jackets, but they only were made to last 72 hours, only 3 days. And remember, they were stranded for 4. The sinking of the USS Indianapolis was and still is the worst shark attack of all time. Sharks attacked men in the water for 4 days. These 2 sharks are most likely the 2 main culprits, as it's a given that not only these 2 sharks came and attacked everybody, there could have been all sorts of sharks, but these were the 2 main ones right here. Tiger sharks and oceanic whitetips. Tiger sharks are more like trash cans. They'll eat anything and everything in the water. They have been found with tires and license plates in their stomachs. They are found mainly in the Central Pacific, and they can get as big as anywhere from 12 to 16 feet long. This is the oceanic white-tip shark, found mainly in the Central Pacific just like tiger sharks, like to be in deep water by continental shelves, about 600 feet down in the water, and they can get up to 13 feet long, but on average are about 6 to 9 feet. Let's talk about what happened after the 316 men were rescued, and what happened in particular to the captain. This was the captain of the USS Indianapolis, Charles McVay. He had to go to a court in front of the Navy and explain exactly what happened. Charles McVay was found guilty of not zigzagging for a defensive maneuver in enemy territory. The surviving crew members had their captain's back, stating he was falsely accused. He later was exonerated by President Clinton of false wrongdoing. Let's take a look at what the USS Indianapolis looks like today. The USS Indianapolis wasn't found for a very long time. It was found by Paul Allen in 2017. It was located almost 3.5 miles down from the surface. On the bottom of your screen you can see a picture of its hull, and on the top is a picture of its bell. Here is a quick timeline of the USS Indianapolis to recap exactly what happened. You can take a moment and pause and look at this picture. As of 2019, there are only 12 out of the 316 men that survived that terrifying day that are still alive. Well, that does it for this episode of James TV. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this. So I'll see you next time on James TV.